That's right, live from Free Admission Studios. This is Gym Crashers with Dondo, Adam Woods, and Blake Bulletproof Troop.
There you go. Hell yes. Dude, it is Tuesday night, and we're live with the Gym Crashers. And again, we have lights out heavyweight title contender, Blake Bulletproof Troop. Yo, guys.
House, baby.
Damn right. How you guys feeling, dude?
Wonderful. We have a grenade in the house on the man's chest. That tells you enough.
That tells you enough?
Bang, bang.
And, I mean, this is your ascension to heavyweight, good sir. How you feeling heading into this
I'm feeling
heavyweight
fantastic. Fight? So, first of all, I'll start addressing the move up. To heavyweight. A lot of people are surprised to hear that I was moving up to heavyweight because I fought as low as 170 pounds. I know, it's crazy, right? Fought at 170 once. The majority of my fights have been at 185 pounds. My last 5 have been at 205 pounds. And I felt like every time that I've moved up, I've had better performances, particularly my move up to 205 pounds. I went on a 4-fight win streak where I didn't even get touched in those 4 fights, just smashed everybody in the first round. 2 of those fights being in the Legacy Fighting Alliance on Access TV, which is now on UFC Fight Pass. And so my last fight was in a Lights Out 3 against Andre Vasilenko at 205 pounds, and I continued to put on size and strength because it was one of the things that really helped me, I felt, in my wins since moving up to 205 pounds. I put on a little bit more weight and size than I probably should have, and I ended up having a pretty tough weight cut. And the way that I feel about weight cutting is weight cutting really, in my opinion, in my experience, puts handcuffs on your body's ability to perform. And as a result, I wouldn't perform as well as I knew that I could perform. And particularly, I'd be a bad dude for the first 3 to 5 minutes. But once it started getting outside of there, I would definitely start to struggle with my gas tank because I had so much horsepower in the engine. So moving up to heavyweight now, where I'm able to completely take out the weight cut, I feel like I'm finally really reaching my full potential. Because every time I've moved up in weight, I felt like I've had a proportional move up in my performance. And now that I'm completely withdrawing any restraint on my weight, I feel like I'm also pulling off any restraint on my body's ability to perform. I'm outrageously strong right now. I put up 400 pounds on bench for multiple reps. I don't even necessarily want to get into all my training and all my quantifiable metrics, but this is the biggest, baddest, meanest, most conditioned bulletproof troop that has ever stepped inside of a cage. And I'm really looking forward to Friday the 13th because the nightmare's coming back. And there will be blood. Somebody's going to sleep. And I tell you what, I plan on taking home a little bit more jewelry.
Oof. Wow. I mean, to compliment that grenade on your chest, good sir. Holy smoke. Now, I mean, you're a extraordinarily large human being, right? So, prior to this, kind of ascension to heavyweight, what are you walking around at prior to this?
So when I was fighting at 205 pounds, I was walking around anywhere from not to have done any training or anything like that, anywhere from like 220, 225-ish, maybe up to 230. Where now I'm walking around 235. I was 243, not last night, but the night before that, so anywhere from like 235 to 240 plus, 6'4", so I'm a big, I hold the weight very well on my frame, I feel like I could even put on another, who knows how much. I'm not really trying to worry about putting on mass right now. I'm strictly worried about my body's ability to perform and putting it in the best position and shape to be able to perform inside the cage. That's my current objective. But, professional wrestling's right around the corner as well. So who knows how big Bulletproof Troop's going to get.
And that's crazy because you and I weigh the same now.
I'm just way better looking.
I mean, I can't. He's got a voice, though.
I think what he's trying to say is you're able to bench press his weight.
Oh.
Is that what you just said?
No,
That's what you just said.
Yeah, okay.
About 4 Benjamins, if I remember correctly.
There's a 400-pound, and there's like a 2-something. So Joey's right around there for people at home.
That's because ugly weighs more than pretty.
Yeah, oh.
Whoa, wait, did you just say yeah?
Yeah.
I think that was a diss, good sir.
Yeah, it's all good. No worries.
Okay.
I'm not scared of you, Bulletproof.
I've never seen Joe back down. This is wrestling, Joe. You can
No,
talk.
it's all good. I'll wait till my segment. No, I'll give you guys.
Oh no! I mean,
Don't make me come over there and take that microphone.
Oh, please do.
Don't make him come over there.
oh jeez! Oh no!
Don't make him place that microphone.
I guess this is. I mean, would this be a better matchup than him and our Polynesian Panda?
I can't
I mean, which
imagine.
fight do you want to see more?
Well, I want to see someone milk the bull.
Whoa! What the hell? I mean, because the prostate and God!
he just got a
my
visual.
God! Where do we go? We're only like 5 minutes into the show, and we
Yep.
just
Get back to talking about beating people up.
yeah,
beating meat.
yes. Because I mean, nothing wrong with prostate massages, but I don't want to milk the bull for sure.
You
for
sure?
Yeah, man.
It's a talent.
I thought that's what they do in Fiji.
No, they don't. We climb coconuts. We
You climb a coconut.
Coconut tree.
coconut tree.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
thing that they. Yeah, whatever.
There you go.
So I guess while we're talking about Lights Out, there's some drama I would like to bring up that occurred at a Lights Out event that a lot of people have been asking me about because I was teasing this heavyweight fight for a minute, but I didn't say who my opponent was. And a lot of people were really excited to see me fight Jay Silva. So for those of you who
That's a
haven't been
fact.
watching a bunch of the drama that's happened between Jay and I, my last fight was September 21st at LXF3, where I fought Andre Vasilenko for the 205-pound LXF title. And before the fight, I'm out in the front passing out a bunch of my tickets. This is way before the event even opens doors. Passing out tickets to my people and shirts and so forth. And Jay comes strutting up to me with his belt over his shoulder and starts talking smack. And so I'm out there dealing with my fans and stuff. And Jay's all acting hard. I'm like, man, get the F out of here, bro. Like, you're out here walking around like you're the man with that belt. You were handed that belt. So for those of you who don't know this, I guess I got to keep rewinding, telling backstories.
Boom.
So Jay Silva was supposed to fight a guy named Jack May for the heavyweight title.
Absolutely.
Jack May was the champion, the Lights Out champion, who beat Mike Quintero, my future opponent.
That's right.
He beat him in a close decision fight. Then so Jack May had the belt and was supposed to fight Jay Silva. At weigh-ins, Jay was getting all up in Jack May's face. So Jack palm mushed this fool off him. Jay came back and threw a punch and clocked Jack. Everyone gets in between them. They're in their underwear. This is at weigh-ins.
Whoa.
And so everyone gets in between them, and so nothing else escalates there. But the athletic commission, from what I understood about the situation, only fined Jack May for initiating the contact by pushing him off. But I mean, so he was really upset because Jay really initiated it by doing that little high school, I'm going to push my forehead into you nonsense. So the next day, Jay's just like, you know what? F that, and just didn't show up to the fight. No show, no call. You're talking the main event for the heavyweight title.
Unprofessional.
So the next day, yeah, I mean, I understand his frustration. Absolutely unprofessional. I agree with that as well. But so the next day at the fight, Lights Out isn't really sure what to do. They just lost their main event without even a call or anything. And Jay's got a good manager. Shout out to Dave Thomas, TNT Fight Management. And so Dave ends up talking to them and getting the belt, I mean, for lack of better terms, handed. You got Jay, handed to Jay Silva. Just, here you go. You're the champ now. So Jay ends up getting the heavyweight belt. He gets it handed to him. Like I said, he had never even been in the Lights Out cage with a set of gloves on. So fast forward now to the night of my fight, and he's over here acting all cool with his belt. I'm like, man, you're a fake champ. Get out. You were handed that belt. You never even been in the Lights Out cage with a set of gloves on. And he's a big, tough dude who likes to get in the middle of some drama, but Jay doesn't know how to talk smack, so he's just like, and puts his little, let's do it there. And sit your ass down, Jay. So anyway, Sean Merriman, a bunch of people get between us, and I'm out there dealing with my fans. It was actually a big hassle for me because I had to go back in the back. I almost got in a lot of trouble for not sitting in the back, all because Jay wanted to come talk some smack to me. But so anyway, fast forward a little bit more, and so then Jay ends up defending his belt against Mike Quintero, my future opponent.
That's right.
And in this fight, Jay loses a split decision, which I had him losing the fight watching it. And part of me wishes Jay won the fight so I can go serve Jay up an ass kicking. But at the same time, I don't really like Jay, and I'd rather fight Mike Quintero. I like Mike better. Mike's a much bigger and better win than Jay Silva is. But so I knew that I was going to move up to heavyweight after the Andre Vasilenko weight cut. And so I had said stuff to Lights Out, And so when this main event fight's going on, I'm cage side, so I just stand there, literally like cage side. Like I could almost reach over and touch, and just stood there and watched the whole fight. And so the camera kept panning over and showing like action in the cage, troops standing here, and then between rounds it'd just be like showing me staring up, looking at the cage. So when I watched the replay, I'm taking videos of it, and the commentators are talking about like, oh, I wonder if Troop's going up to heavyweight, kind of teasing it because we knew what was going to happen. So I do an Instagram story while it's playing. I'm like, who wants to see Bulletproof Troop move up to heavyweight and slap Jay Silva around? And so Jay loses his cool. He's like, I'm showing up at your gym. It's on site. Blah, blah, blah. Like, well, cool. I'll be at Black House tomorrow from 10:30 to 11:30. If you're feeling froggy, slide through. Of course, Jay no-shows. Surprise, surprise. So I continue to taunt Jay for not showing up. And so I'll throw little jabs at him here and there, like around Christmas time, little photoshops. And then Jay and I, so it's on site, blah, blah, blah. And so me and Jay rarely see each other. We're not necessarily from the same part of LA, but at events, that's the time where we're going to bump into each other. So I'm at Bellator, was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I'm down on the floor, and I'm walking down this like little side hallway thing. And I'm by myself, nobody's with me. And I see Jay Silva walking the other way. Just Jay by himself.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. So we walk up, and Jay comes up. He's like, man, we need to talk. I'm like, all right, homie, well, let's talk then. Yeah, soon. He starts walking off. Like, soon. Fuck out of here, bro. Like, but so there's been a whole bunch of drama between Jay and I. And I would have loved to have beaten that guy up. But no, it wasn't Jay Silva. It's Mike Quintero is my opponent. And I'm actually really excited about that because I'm a fan of Mike Quintero as a person and as a competitor.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to getting in the cage with another warrior who's willing to fight to the death, man. Like, I've proven it in my fights, and I believe that Mike will too. In his fight against Jack May, he took damage, man. He continued to push forward and fight for the win. And I think that his style of fighting and my style of fighting and the type of personalities and headstrongness that we both have, this should be an amazing fight. And I know he's training hard. He's the champ for a reason.
Yep.
And I'm training hard too because I want to be the champ. And I want to come in and I want to take that belt. You got to beat the man to be the man. And I plan on coming in there and beating the man and taking his jewelry home. Heard that.
Yeah, and I mean, you're an avid, promo person, right? So obviously you've not have that fight with Jay Silva, but I think fans are going to see a whole new side of you because here's an opponent that you respect. There's mutual respect there. You guys are both fans of each other. And, I mean, it's another dynamic because, yes, you're going to see a fight on Friday the 13th befitting of a heavyweight title fight, but almost none of the shit talking, right? But it's not going to lessen the levity of what's going to happen. I mean, you guys are going to make the heavyweight division much like Quintero Jack May did, for Lights Out.
I agree 100%. I'm actually, Andre Vasylenko I liked as well. There have been a handful of opponents that I've had that I didn't like, and there was a lot more negative talk during the build-up. James Cannon, looking at you. But I'm actually I'm happy to be fighting a guy that I respect because I'd much rather go out and say good things about him. It builds my win up and makes my win that much better. Like James Cannon walked around saying like, man, this kid sucks and blah, blah, blah. And then I beat him in 90 seconds and I just beat a guy who sucks in 90 seconds. When James Cannon doesn't really suck, I would just sit there and belittle him because I knew it bothered him, I guess, or to build. I don't really know, but I like Mike Quintero and I think very highly of Mike. Like I said, as a person and as a competitor. So I'm excited to be able to go in there and really gas him up because, dude, he's the champion for a reason, and I think he's the toughest heavyweight in Southern California, like I would have loved to have beaten Jay up for personal reasons, but I didn't get in this business to beat people up. I've beaten a lot of people up, and I don't care about beating people up anymore. I'm worried about building a career and an empire, and I think Mike Quintero is a much bigger and better win and a better route for my career to move forward and up.
Real quick, Joey Angelo says, you're built for bare knuckles. Come over to the dark side and join us over at the BKFC.
So actually, shout out to Joey Angelo. Joey is the man. He's been serving dudes up over at Bare Knuckle FC, and I'm a big Joey fan. If you guys haven't been tuning into Bare Knuckle FC, dude, it's really exciting.
Incredible.
5 2-minute rounds. It's basically a sprint fist fight. It's so much fun to watch, and I'm a huge fan of the Bare Knuckle fighters and the Bare Knuckle as a sport. I actually talked to Bare Knuckle FC, and they wanted an exclusive multi-fight contract before I signed with Lights Out. It was one of the people that I had a little bit of discussion with, and it's something that I'm actually very interested in, because I'm trying to do so many different things in the combat sports world, exclusive contracts are really a tough thing for me to sign. I mean, you know, if I was signing an exclusive contract, the only company I could really see myself signing one with is probably the WWE. You know, but that's a long-term career move, you know. But Bare Knuckle FC, if you guys want to chat and get these hand grenades flying inside the Bare Knuckle FC ring, give me a call, baby.
It's got to make sense, right? You're a businessman. That's
100%.
Not just beating people up, right?
I had my years of just fighting people to fight and prove that I was a tough guy that was down to fight people. I'm past that stage of my career. I know I'm tough. People know that I'm tough. It's about making the best steps forward in my career to get my career to where it is that I'm trying to go. You know, if I just sit there and just take whatever's offered to me all the time, I'm really not going to get closer to the destination that I'm trying to get to. All my moves now are strategic about what it is that I move forward. Just like in my training, I strategically plan it. I have so many minutes in the day, so much energy in the day, so much wear and tear on my body in the day that I have to be strategic about the moves I make. Same thing on my career, just looking at the days a much smaller scale versus the month, the years, and so forth. You know, but it's the same concept of strategically making calculated moves forward to try and advance myself to my destination.
What we've seen in the past from Blake, or from you, of course, is explosiveness that can't be compared, especially in the first round. Are you preparing to go into deep water with Quintero?
Yeah, you know, so in terms of my preparation and conditioning and stuff, absolutely. I've definitely, after my last fight against Andre Vasylenko, I saw that I needed to step up my conditioning a little bit. Another aspect of it is, you know, when I get in the cage, it's basically like you're putting a pit bull in the cage and just unhooking the leash. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would do. I come out and I just get my hands on people and tearing them up. And that's not necessarily going to change. I might be a little bit more strategic about when I go in and attack, but it's the same bad man, the same mentality. You know, I'm a killer and it's a return of the nightmare, baby, you know? I'm coming in to hurt my opponent as badly as I can, within the rules, but as badly and quickly as I can. So that hasn't changed, you know? Am I prepared to go into deep waters? Yeah, I'm definitely putting in preparation for that, but I don't plan on it going into deep waters. I have a 100% first-round finishing rate in all my wins, and I plan on keeping that statistic.
It's a very ominous date. It's Friday the 13th. You've said it yourself. You're going to bring the horror.
I'm bringing the pain, baby. There's going to be blood. There is going to be blood. Hand grenades and elbows.
Has it historically been a good date for you? I like Friday the 13th. 13th's my lucky number. If it wasn't for bad luck, I'd have no luck. So tell me what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, it's just another day, but it's definitely a day that has gotten me hyped up. So I would say I don't have any big experiences one way or the other with Friday the 13th. So I guess I would just say that I'm excited about it. It's the first time I've had something big going on this date. And I would say it's given me an extra bit of motivation in terms of my showmanship and my preparation.
Hell yeah.
You don't expect there to be a whole bunch of fun Friday the 13th, Return of the Nightmare related themes going on in the fight night. Because you know Bulletproof Troop always brings a show.
It's 100%. Now, going into another aspect of entertainment, right? You've been training in professional wrestling. How's that been?
That has been fantastic. So I've been training in professional wrestling since about June of 2018. So about a year and change, year and a half, maybe a little bit longer. But I haven't done nonstop 100% focus on training. It was more here and there up until about October, November, and December, and January. I did a lot of professional wrestling training at two different places. The United Wrestling Network with Pete Avalon originally coached there, and then D-Man, Dan Parker, and now the next person really teaching is Gentleman Jervis. So I trained there as well as at Santino Brothers with Robbie Phoenix, Joey Chaos, and a bunch of those guys out of there. So I joined their curriculum because they have like a year-long curriculum to help build you instead of just going in and doing classes, where it's a structured, like I said, curriculum that kind of builds progressively and adds more and more stuff together. So I've been doing a combination of the two of those, and I feel like my wrestling fundamentals have really established themselves, and I feel like I'm continuing to level up in professional wrestling in terms of move sets, psychology, playing with the crowd, understanding a lot more of the show, being able to dissect a match, these big landmark periods or times in matches that change like the different phases of the match. There's a very in all storytelling, whether it's movies, wrestling, and so forth, there's typically a pattern of events that happen. And so I have a much more keen understanding of these pattern of events in professional wrestling and how to really maximize those, how to really make it so the heel's getting heat, or getting a face over, or building these spots, or sometimes it might be building, but no, building. And then when they finally get that, it really pops,
Right.
So a lot of the psychology and the entertainment aspect is a big thing that I've been learning a lot about in professional wrestling. I've been reading one of Rip Rogers' students, I believe it was Caleb Hall, wrote a book about a lot of Rip's teachings, and it's been fantastic eye-opener for a lot of the psychology of professional wrestling. Then the other aspect of so one aspect of wrestling is the storytelling and the psychology and so forth. The other aspect is the actual moves, which the moves come very easy to me because I'm used to manipulating a person's body already.
Right.
And that's a person who's resisting. So if I can kind of guide you slightly, and then they're working with me, it comes across much easier. I'm used to moving around people's bodies, and a lot of the moves, professional wrestling was based off of submission wrestling. It's
Absolutely.
a very, very similar thing. Just the difference is how much the guy's working with you or not. So picking up the moves has been really, it comes very quickly and naturally to me, especially submission holds. Man, I do a lot of jiu-jitsu, so if it's feed this through to here, underhook this, then man, that comes very easy to me. And especially, I understand how to cinch something up nice and tight, so that when I try and turn them over, there's not a bunch of space to lose it. So the moves have been coming really, very naturally to me, and the storytelling aspects, I believe, have been coming very naturally to me as well. And so I'm really excited about these next steps that I'll be taking into the professional wrestling world. Right now, my whole focus is on Friday, March 13th, and coming for that heavyweight title. But who knows what's going to happen after that? You might just see Bulletproof Troop getting inside the squared circle.
Whoa. That's cool. I'm excited for that. Now, obviously, the dalliances of professional wrestling and shoot fighting or MMA fighting has been pretty much the genesis, right? You go through Lou Thesz, Billy Robinson, and then modern day, MMA heroes like Kazushi Sakuraba, Dan the Beast Severn, Filthy Tom Lawler, all getting their hands and feet wet with professional wrestling. So, going into this fight camp, obviously there's a different type of footwork, right? So you're training boxing at The Rock, right? You're training at Black House, right? But in terms of movements, have you noticed a difference? Because obviously you're packing on more weight, right? So your motions need to be a little bit more fluid, especially with a gamer like Mike Quintero.
Absolutely. So a huge thing in wrestling that you'll hear wrestlers talk about is getting blown up, and essentially that means that you're taking you got tired. And typically the way that you're going to reduce being blown up is by being extremely efficient with your movement, not stepping more than you have to, not doing more motions and movements than you have to. And that's something that I've absolutely learned in professional wrestling and kind of brought over to my fighting, where I used to inefficiently move. I would spend more energy that wasn't necessarily productively spent, where now I'm a much more efficient about, not that I necessarily move less, but there's a much more purpose to my movement now, which is something that wrestling absolutely helped me with. And everything in wrestling's footwork, making sure everything starts in fight, everything. It all starts with your wheels. So I would absolutely say that having a much smarter understanding of how to spend my energy, and then obviously better technical movements and things of that nature. I've been working on both. I don't really remember what the question is. Sometimes I just talk.
No, that's good. No, I think that's what
you're known for. But where do you get this? Gosh, it's almost a scientific breakdown of how movement works. Where does that come from within you? Because you do have a different outlook and a different way of breaking things down to move forward and to grow.
Absolutely. So I would say one of the biggest things in terms of, I'll start with what you're talking about, like the footwork and stuff, would be like understanding biomechanics. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I got my bachelor's degree in exercise science from Long Beach State. So I did a lot of biomechanics and a lot of fitness related things where and not just that, so I'm also a certified athletic trainer, which is a sports medicine professional. If you're watching a football game, you see somebody get hurt and two guys run out on the field to see what's up with them. That's an athletic trainer. And so a big thing we have to understand about that is a lot of different movement patterns, being able to break these things down to see improper movement patterns or ways to correct things so that things are done properly. And I've been able to bring that ability to kind of break down a technique or a weight or something to to understand exactly what's going on or more efficient ways to do it because of my background in education and kinesiology from Long Beach State. And I would say that that as well as creating things like a rehab program where you have a very structured, here's what our goal is, and here's how we're going to start breaking this down into like if obviously the goal is complete return to play. Okay, well, how are we going to do that? We're going to build back, neurological control, range of motion, strength, balance, and, based on what the injuries are. We build this whole little tree that starts from injured and starts going and growing and growing and growing into the different areas that you need to do it. And I apply the exact same logic to my training and the things that I'm trying to do in life. Big thing I tell people is to make progress in life, movement and progress are not completely different. They're two different things. Progress requires movement, but not all movement means progress. To have progress, you have to have a destination. Otherwise, you're just moving around. So just like if we're at the side of a pool, right? And I tell you to jump in and swim to the other side. This person swims to the other side pretty efficiently, and one person just sits there and splashes crazy. The person who swam across strategically barely spent any energy, and they got way closer to where they were trying to go. This person splashing around just spent a ton of energy, and they're not any closer to where they're trying to get because they didn't come in with a strategy of how to try and get where they're going. So it's a big thing that I figure out what it is what do I need to have happen? What's the end goal? And then how am I going to make that happen? And I apply that logic to pretty much everything in my life, but particularly my training programming and what my objectives and goals are in life, The first step of getting anywhere is figuring out where you want to go. Then you can create the plan. Then you can get in the car. Then you can drive. Maybe you're flying a plane. You can figure out all your different options once you figure out where you want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, then walk in the general direction. I knew I wanted to be in sports. I didn't know exactly where, so I ended up going to school for athletic training. And first I went to physical therapy, then it was athletic training, and then I went into strength and conditioning. And then I was like, wait a second. I'm not trying to teach athletes. I'm trying to be the athlete.
There you go.
And I continued to move in the direction that I wanted to go until I found the exact destination. Then I got into fighting, and for a few years I kind of just floated, and then I realized I need to set a more specific destination and figure out how it is that I want to get there. And that's exactly what I did. And so I started Bulletproof Troop a little bit over 3 years ago, and the amount of progress I've made with this brand towards my end goal destination, it really surprises a lot of people. And they're like, man, you're so lucky. How'd you do that? And it's like, dude, luck had nothing to do with it. I'm not going to say that luck's not a component in things, but it's because I figured out what I wanted, and I passionately put my everything into that plan. And then I made adjustments along the way as I got closer to what I wanted to do and figured out what I wanted to do and got wiser about how to navigate the different waters.
It's amazing, yeah. That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
3 years. I wished him a happy birthday when he said happy birthday to Bulletproof Troop. I thought it was his birthday, not realizing it was the birthday of the persona of which he has created Bulletproof Troop.
But the one thing I will say about Bulletproof Troop is it's just me with the volume's kind of on loud.
Oh, yeah.
Volume's kind of on loud, but it's just me being me. So it's a really easy, and people call it a gimmick, but I'm not pretending to be something else. I'm just me with the volume on high, being a little wild.
I like it. Turns up.
Turning up, baby. That's what I do.
Well, when you look at, whether it be professional wrestling, guys like, Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen, and what have you, and in MMA, you're talking about guys like Don Fry and Chuck Liddell and what have you. They were wild, man. I mean, I was just listening to Joe Rogan's podcast with Angela Overkill Hill on the way here, and she was telling me, like, she made $700 for a lion fight, right? Imagine the pioneers of MMA probably got less than that.
If anything,
maybe a hot dog and a beer, right? And you're going to go ahead and throw, like punches, whatever. The only thing that, on the early days of MMA was essentially no fish hooking and no, ball punching, right?
You can punch him in the nuts.
Okay, so there's that.
I remember there's an Asian dude who got clocked in the nuts like 7 or 8. He came out the cross, came out Kimo Leopoldo.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name. Joe Son, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Wham! Oh! All right.
What's happened to Joe's son? Oh,
I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, that's dark.
Yeah.
It's dark. It's super dark.
No one knows.
Yeah, it's super dark, but you can
So
Google
who this
it.
guy is that we're talking about, he was also in one of the Austin Power
movies,
I don't know
yeah.
if he was a gold member or one of those, but he's the guy who threw the shoe. I don't. Yeah.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right, and then it just gets really horrendous after that. But
Yeah.
you can put
That's
it in
the
your
end of the
Google
Joe
machine.
Son story.
Yeah, we can put it in the Google machine and figure it out, man. But geez, man. So I mean, tell us about the empire that is Bulletproof Troop. Obviously, you've got awesome swag. You've got your website up, right?
Absolutely, bulletprooftroop.com. Go pick up some merch.
Stickers, merch. I mean, I almost feel like you need like
start selling
replica.
these
Yeah,
bad boys,
that's a whole nother.
Good luck getting on an airplane with that thing.
Yeah, no, the airport is not like this. That's fun at the airport.
Have you really?
Yeah.
What airport? Let's name names.
Obviously.
LAX,
Oh, okay.
LAX. I was
The
flying out to
hometown.
a tournament, and they're like, "You can't bring this on there." I was like, "Bro, it's a replica." He's like, "A replica of what?"
Uh-oh.
All right, you can have it.
It almost feels.
I mean, this thing's solid metal. Like, this whole chain weighs like 10 pounds. Like, if I want to do some serious damage with this thing, I could. Like, Staples Center doesn't let it in. A lot of the big places Forum won't let it in. I'm not surprised. I mean, like, if this thing could really hurt somebody.
It's the times,
But I mean,
too.
the thing is, it's not this hand grenade people need to be worried about. It's these hand grenades people need to be worried about. When hand grenades start flying, bodies start dropping, baby.
Damn, dude. I mean, I'm excited. I almost want it to be March 13th, Friday, right now.
It's coming quick. So, with preparation for such a fight, is it hard sparring right now? Are you throwing in that kind of training, or are you
I've been
being
working, I've been
careful?
doing a lot of sparring with a lot of high level guys. Particularly, I've been training a good amount with Josh Barnett. He fights on March 13th.
It doesn't get
as
much
well.
harder than that.
War Master, baby.
Yeah.
So I'm putting in work with a lot of tough guys. I was sparring with Anderson Silva on Friday. Kevin Casey. I train with a lot of very high level guys, and I expect to have a very high level performance on Friday, March 13th at LXF5, baby. Commerce Casino. Hit me up, y'all need tickets. Free T-shirt, just like this, with every ticket sale.
Damn right.
Josh Barnett, now that's someone who has recently crossed over into the wrestling world. Now, is that an inspiration for you working closely with him?
Absolutely, and I wouldn't even say he recently crossed over. This guy has been in the sport for a very long time.
Yeah,
He's been a commentator for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and something that he does that I'm a huge fan of is Bloodsport.
Yes.
That's what I was referring to, the blood sport.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of Bloodsport. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Bloodsport, Bloodsport is a professional wrestling promotion that particularly it's geared towards more. It's similar to a fight. If you didn't know anybody, you might think these guys were really fighting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they call it strong style fighting or strong style wrestling. Excuse me. But like I said, it's almost like a fight. Like if you were watching it and you weren't told that this is a professional wrestling, you might think it's a fight. You might be like, wait, is this a fight? Is this what?
Especially with
But it's
Josh Barnett in there.
Yeah.
Right. It's close enough that you would imagine that this might be a real fight, and that's the kind of wrestling that I particularly like. There's much more smooth transitions that are realistic. Like you might see guys going for like legitimate jiu-jitsu submissions and so forth, as opposed to, and nothing against other forms of professional wrestling, but like lucha, it's not as believable that this could really be going on. It's still very entertaining, but it's a different flavor of professional wrestling. And this Bloodsport is my personal favorite flavor because it's so similar to real fighting. And so Josh Barnett runs Bloodsport now. I believe this is maybe the fourth or fifth one.
Fourth incarnation, third with Barnett.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Riddle did the first
Yeah,
one.
Matt Riddle, who's now with the WWE NXT.
Right. And so training with Josh for this, I mean, that's something that I would love to eventually do, a Bloodsport competition, and I believe the next one is WrestleMania week, which is early April in Orlando. Or Tampa.
Yeah, it's in the Florida area for sure.
And I know I'll be in town for that, so who knows?
Tampa.
Maybe you'll see Bulletproof Troop in there. There's no plans. We haven't talked about it or anything. I'm just being hopeful and optimistic.
There's literal goosebumps
Let
right
the
here.
fight gods make it happen.
Yeah, there's little goosebumps right here. Because, and that's the thing. I mean, first time I met Josh Barnett was he was cornering one of his female fighters at Combate in Burbank. This had to be about 2.5 years ago. And the first thing I asked him was, hey, how is it like to train with, Billy Robinson and Antonio Inoki? And he was like, nobody's ever asked me that. I was like, how do you walk this earth and nobody asks you how to, you're a catch wrestler. You and Sakuraba are literally the missing link to, jiu-jitsu, high level grappling, to MMA and pro wrestling, right?
Even strong style wrestling in general, guys like that who fought and wrestled. Inoki's another perfect
Yeah.
person. 100%.
Minoru Suzuki, right?
Yeah, so I watched Josh Barnett and Minoru Suzuki at the last Bloodsport. Oh, what an incredible match that was.
Oh, I
So
love it so
entertaining.
much.
And yeah, you're just talking about veterans of combat sports coming in and putting on a fun show for the fans that want to see that type of wrestling. So that's my favorite flavor of wrestling.
Absolutely.
I
And
would love to be involved in it one day.
uh,
Shout out Josh Barnett.
War Master.
War Master. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I met him backstage at a Goat Whore concert. He's carrying Goat Whore's equipment. He was their roadie. I
What?
mean, carrying amplifiers, and I'm like, Josh, this is something you do in the side. He's like, dude, I love Goat Whore. He's a metal guy. Like
Yeah.
a hardcore metal
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
So he ain't messing around. So when you're asking him odd questions about wrestling, I don't know if anybody asked him Goat Whore questions before.
There
I had
you
to throw
go.
him a curveball myself.
There you go. I'd float that out there. I'm
You know?
just saying. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, when you look at, that kind of smooth transition wrestling, look no further than Billy Robinson, right? Josh Barnett's, head trainer essentially, right? And not just Josh Barnett, but all of the guys at CSW, Eric Paulson, that old school Wigan, just like gritty grappling and what have you. But it was beautiful. I mean, there's the Wrestler's Wrestler on YouTube, right? Sometimes I just watch that like every couple months and whatever, just fluid in transition. And I mean, Billy Robinson at his prime was like 260, right? And doing cartwheels and, like kipping up. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. If you're a fan of any sort of like grappling or martial art, you got to check this out. And, for my money, I think like Carl Gotch and Billy Robinson and, they get lost because I think they should be at the same echelon as Elio Gracie and what have you, Gordo Jiu-Jitsu, all of those, because I mean it's a direct link. And when people talk about EBI filling out auditoriums, and it's great, but it was done 100 years ago with George Hackenschmidt and Frank Gotch. You used to walk into YMCA and learn boxing and wrestling. It was just one of two ways. Before baseball, before football, those are it. You walked into YMCA and you learned one of the two. It was, and for some reason in modern day, it's like now you have to pay $200 at the very least to learn grappling. I'm like,
I mean, I get that. People got to run businesses and keep doors open and lights on. I can understand people
not
needing
cheap.
to charge for martial arts, especially legitimate martial arts. It takes a lifetime of expensive training to get all the knowledge together to be
Yeah.
able to run a school. So I can't hate on people for charging a lot, but I definitely agree with you that these combat sports were much more popular in older days, and I feel like there's definitely a big resurgence happening in that.
Absolutely.
Because you talk to a lot of people now, and their kids do jiu-jitsu. Where
Yes.
I mean, man, when I was younger, when I started training in 2001, nobody did jiu-jitsu. Not that it wasn't there, but it didn't have the popularity. The sport didn't have the popularity it has now, and as a result, businesses related to the sport didn't have the same popularity. But now you can, man, I probably saw 3 jiu-jitsu places on the drive over here,
we're doing our
which is awesome. I love jiu-jitsu and I
Absolutely.
love combat sports. So shout out to y'all charging $200.
Hell
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
heck, we're doing this podcast at a jiu-jitsu school, right?
Yeah.
Didn't have it any
Yeah.
other way.
Yeah, which also does professional wrestling.
That's
so
right.
again, that melding. Now, in terms of starting in the sport, were there any? I don't want to say idols, but were there people that you looked up at in your formative years? That you wanted to emulate.
So when you say which sport are you referring to? Professional wrestling?
Let's do
fighting?
MMA, and then we'll do professional wrestling as well.
I guess I'll just kind of start. I'll kind of blend the two because I think that they're both very closely related, and my interest in each has definitely been built off of each other. So I grew up as a kid. I loved professional wrestling. I used to watch professional wrestling every night. I remember the Monday Night Wars. I remember all that stuff. Going to professional wrestling shows as a kid, playing the wrestling on my Nintendo or Super Nintendo, like throwback, like really, like Yokozuna, Bret Hart, and like a bunch of old school guys. I grew up watching them. And as I got older, so my favorite wrestlers, and I would even say these people are really a combination of who Bulletproof Troop is: Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and like the Generation X Triple H. Like that was that. I'm like an exact, like if you mash those three together, like the badass Stone Cold, the good talker, and The Rock, and then like the against authority of the Generation X and kind of do what I want. Like that's like exactly who I am. But so I came up watching that, and then in the early 2000s, I want to say, or maybe even 2000, I found out about UFC, and this is relatively early UFC,
Right.
and I had known about it, but I didn't really watch it and know about it. then I had a friend who like put me onto it. And I want to say this is probably about 2000. So the big names are like Shamrock, or Ken Shamrock, Frank Shamrock, Bash Rutten, Randy Couture was just kind of coming out, you know. So some of these fighters, I would say one of the guys that I really looked up to the most when I was younger was Tito Ortiz. He was very similar to like a professional wrestling gimmick in fighting. And he's actually a person I've looked up to a lot in terms of creating my own gimmick in fighting. He's really, I would say, the closest thing to a professional wrestling gimmick in fighting. And then I looked at, you know, he had his nickname. He had his bleached hair. He'd be handing out baseball cards that had like his picture on it. You know, he had his camouflage shorts with the flames on it, where the guy had a lot of distinct things that like kind of made him who he was. The Huntington Beach bad boy, you know, where he had a whole, you know, he started Punishment Athletics, where he had a whole brand and a bunch of things associated with himself, where he's finding other streams of income to create around his fight career by having like the clothing company and stuff, but things to really catch people's attention and remember who he was, you know. And as a result of that, I've applied a lot of those principles to what I'm trying to do. I try and stand out. Like, this grenade chain is not comfortable to wear. This thing's like 10 pounds. My neck's probably get bigger as a result, but the thing is, people remember it. Like, when I was out at WrestleMania week, I wore this all day, every day, and I was at Impact Wrestling on like Thursday, and then Sunday I'm at a WrestleMania viewing party, and I'm talking to this couple, and they're like, dude, we saw you at Impact Wrestling walking around the big grenade chain, and we're like, that guy's such a dork. Stupid grenade chain, blah, blah, blah. And then I see him at this party, and they're like, and now we're talking to you, and you're so cool. And I was like, yeah, you know, like, regardless of what you thought it was cool or stupid when you first saw it, is that you remembered me. 5 days later, and you're on vacation seeing thousands of people every day in a place you've never been, and you remembered me because I had a chain on. 100% same reason that Tito Ortiz had his camouflage shorts, the flames, the bleached hair. You know, he hands out baseball flyers, I hand out stickers. You know, where I do a lot of the same things or a lot of similar things to try and build my brand. So in terms of fighters who I've really looked up to early in my career, and I still look up to Tito because he's still the man in the sport. You know,
still working.
Tito Ortiz has been a big inspiration for me, and somebody that I would, and he wouldn't even know this, but that I've looked up to and really tried to emulate a lot of in my career. Obviously, there's some other people, but I'd say that was the big first one for fighting, and then those are my wrestlers.
Yeah.
No, but that's honest.
That's
I mean,
awesome. That's amazing.
And all of those facts are very truthful in describing what he accomplished.
Absolutely.
Without any framework.
Right.
I give him that.
You have no choice. I mean, it really is.
And so I loved professional wrestling growing up. And then, like I said, when I found out about UFC, it stole my heart. And I began training in 2001 doing cardio kickboxing, and then they had a combat grappling class there, which was basically like no gi, but they were like kind of showing it sort of like more for fighting. And so I started training, and it totally stole my heart. I basically just dropped wrestling and picked up fighting, and that's 2001, 2002, 2000, I would say about around there. It was after like WrestleMania No Mercy came out on Nintendo 64.
Yeah,
I loved those games. It was like right after that. And so like I said, fighting stole my heart. And so from 2001, 2002 until 2015, 16, it was 100% fighting was my interest. And that's like early high school for me all the way through currently. And then...
Troop's a young man.
Yeah, I'm 32.
Damn.
And then I started doing things, going to independent wrestling shows with you,
Yeah.
like PCW Ultra, Bumps and Bruises, and a bunch of other local shows. And I started kind of seeing what these guys were doing to hype their stuff. And I was already doing the Bulletproof Troop thing. But so one of the big things that began to change then after I started going to these independent wrestling shows with you, Adam, was I started cutting promos where I would do a full-on, basically like a wrestling promo. And it's one of the things that really got a lot of traction for me. And the first promo I cut was against James Cannon. And I cut a few of them. And nobody's ever done any... I mean, I guess the closest person to doing stuff like this was Kobe Covington. But he does it in a way that makes you not like the guy and not want to see any more of his promos. I try and do it
That's
more...
why they boo him at every show. But, I want to see him fight.
Yeah.
You know, I try and do it in a more entertaining, fun, lighthearted way. Like, you might see me dressed up like a pirate. You might see me dressed up like a cowboy. You might see just Bulletproof Troop as Bulletproof Troop. I might have chainmail and be pulling a Game of Thrones thing. You don't really know what but I try and have fun with it. And so I started cutting these promos, and it caught the attention of a WWE talent scout who pitched me to the WWE, and I've gotten some interest from the WWE. I ended up getting injured, and some things have passed, and so I'm continuing to try and pursue that, but I don't remember what I remember what the question was. But so I started implementing a lot of these professional wrestling things into my fighting, and because at the end of the day, fighting is the entertainment industry. People tune in to be entertained.
That's a fact.
You know, the first 3 most important things about being a fighter is being able to fight, being able to fight, and being able to fight.
Yeah.
You can't substitute that. But if you can fight and you can be entertaining, then the sky's the limit. You can look at a guy like Conor McGregor. And like I said, you got to be able to fight. Conor can fight, but Conor can talk. Conor went and boxed arguably the best ever in Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. Arguably, I mean, people can have their opinions. He's definitely in the conversation. But you're talking about arguably the best ever, 48-0 or 49-0.
Very little damage.
Against a guy who has never had a professional boxing match, never had an amateur boxing match. Given MMA and fighting, he trains a lot of boxing. I agree. But that's like saying, you know, tennis to racquetball. It's close, but it's not the same thing. You know,
it's like video games to war.
So,
could pull the trigger, but you know it's a little different in reality.
Right, but the reason why that fight happened, and that was probably the biggest fight of all time in terms of revenue that came in.
Absolutely.
These guys fought one night, but they went around the world doing press conferences to get everybody in the world to tune in. The reason why they did all that is because Conor can talk and put on a show, and Floyd can talk and put on a show.
Absolutely.
Not that both these guys can't fight. They can both fight, but the reason why this was the biggest fight of all time is because they could both talk. That's why it was so big. Crossover in sports. This guy's talking, this guy's talking. You know, so being able to number one, fight, and then number 2, be entertaining, because people want to tune in and watch this fun stuff. You know, another guy who you can start to see this entertainment value really building is Jorge Masvidal.
Oh, yeah.
Is that necessary? Super necessary.
Right.
Where he's starting to kind of put on a show, and you're starting to get to see what this guy's character and personality is like. Absolutely. Where now people become more invested in this person.
He's
and
real.
What the outcome is going to have. Right. Well, you can tell it's genuine. Like,
right.
But you almost start to feel like you're getting to know the guy.
Yeah.
Like, and I've never met him, but the more interviews you watch and the way he talks, like you feel like you get to know the guy. So you have this emotional investment in the outcome of their fight, whether you want to see him win or lose, because a lot of guys hate Floyd Mayweather or Conor McGregor's a perfect person. A lot of people hate him, but whether you're tuning in because you love him and you want to see him win, or tuning in because you hate him and you want to see him lose, you're tuning in. And the thing is, I try and veer on the side of people liking me, because you don't want to get Kobe Covington, where like people might be tuning in to see you lose, but do they? Everybody's tuning in to see you lose.
That's a fact.
The whole crowd. You know what? Those are very, very eloquent words on the subject of what Adam had asked about people that influence you, and nobody could put it better than Troop. And it makes me look at these athletes, fighters in a different way. Just incredible. And Troop is one of those guys that are inspiring a whole new generation of people coming up in Black House, teaching, telling them, you know, what it means to be a fighter, not just with your hands, but with your words too. So,
absolutely,
amazing thing.
Well, a big thing that I like to push, and this isn't just for the fighters I train with, this is just for people in general. This is kind of like what I call the legacy that I'm trying to build around my life is. I want to encourage people to believe in themselves, their dreams, and their ability to achieve those dreams. The way I plan on doing that is by setting, like I was saying earlier, destinations, figuring out what I want to do in life, and going and achieving some wild stuff that people would think is unobtainable. And then showing people how I did it. I figured out what I wanted. I created a plan, and I passionately put my everything into that plan. And then I made adjustments along the way. And that's what the secret to life is, in my opinion. And whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's being a world champion fighter, or being a doctor, being a astronaut, like any of these things, it's figuring out what you want to do and then what you got to start doing to make that happen, you know? And so I say people believing in themselves. That one's an easy one, like you can do it, blah, blah, blah. But here's the other big ones. Believing in yourself, believing in your dreams, and believing that you could be the person to achieve those. So believing in your dreams, 100 years ago, if you said you wanted to go to the moon, you would have been laughed out of the room. Absolutely. Laughed out of the room.
Facts.
You say you want to go to the moon now, that's not even that crazy, man. We're going to Mars. I want to go to another. Okay, now you're starting to reach. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it takes people believing that we can do something and trying to put everything in. Because if people didn't believe we can go to the moon when they would have been laughed out of the room, then we would have never made it to the moon.
It's a fact.
You know, so believe in yourself, your dreams, and then your ability to achieve those dreams. Not only can we go to the moon, but I can be the person to go to the moon. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to figure out what I need to do to make myself the best candidate for it, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. You know, I want to be the king of combat sports. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, I got to start getting all these different belts in different areas, taking over multiple combat sports, And I call myself the king of combat sports entertainment, because entertainment is a big aspect of it too.
Absolutely.
You can go out and be slaughtering everybody, like Khabib Nurmagomedov. He slaughters everybody, but he's really not that entertaining of a guy. Like, I mean, he's a bad dude. But I'm not just trying to be the king of combat sports. Combat sports entertainment, where I'm figuring out the things that I got to do to boost my entertainment value and putting it out there. And that goes back to what we were originally saying about motivating and encouraging people. This stuff doesn't fall into my lap. I didn't get lucky. It just kind of happened. I didn't just wake up one day and I had this whole Bulletproof Troop gimmick. Like, I put a lot of thought into these things, and how can I be more memorable? Like a big gold grenade chain, having a logo, having a catchy name, a bunch of catchphrases where I've got, like I was saying, when hand grenades start flying, bodies start dropping, where I've got a bunch of things that coincide together to build this brand. And it's because I put thought into it. And the reason I put thought into it, because I knew where I wanted to go, and I had to figure out how to get there. And that's how I created a lot of this stuff. And that's the secret to life, or whatever it is people want to do. It could be anything. It's just figuring out what you want to do, creating a plan, and passion,
So
putting everything
huge.
into it.
It's amazing. You know, we're coming up on our newest, funniest segment, and we're going to cut to some fight to win videos before we get into that. So Bull or No Bull coming at you with Bulletproof Troop. He's got stories. You tell him if it's Bull or No Bull.
Dondo, what do you think?
I think he's full of bull.
There we go. Check it out. Bull or No Bull coming up next.
All right, this is BJJ World TV. I'm Dondo, the Gym Crasher. I have got the local legend with us. The man who needs no introduction, but Jacob Harmon is here to talk about Our Life CBD. How does that help you recover? Because I know you work hard.
Man, this stuff is amazing. You know, people obviously with CBD, it's like the big boom now. People are always throwing these products around or whatever. I've gotten a lot. I've tried a lot. This one right here seems to be the only one that works for me. And also, I've given this out to friends. I've given this out to friends that have like chronic issues for like a long time, reoccurring. And even when I hand them a CBD product, they're like, oh, another CBD thing, that ain't gonna work. That stuff doesn't work on me or whatever. And then the next time I see them, they're like, dude, you know what? Can you get any more of that stuff? Can you get any more of that? I think it was Our Life or whatever. That's what they say. And yeah. And I think it was a soap. I gave a soap to a friend or some ointment or something. And like, she is like, swears by it now. Every time she's out, she's like, I need some more of this. And so I sent her the link to the Instagram or whatever. So hopefully she's a loyal customer. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like real healing. I think a lot of the things are, you know, I'm not going to call them hype or whatever, but I think this has some type of mixture, something in it that it's just created in a different way. And so I've given it specifically to like 4 different people, and they had like the same exact type of result. They're like, dude, what is that? Like, why is it different? I says, oh no, my friend gave it to me, and here we are. So thank you very much. Our Life CBD product is amazing. It works. If you haven't tried it, go check it out. Our Life CBD.
Coming from Jacob Harmon, obviously he trains at a very intense level. People are going to need something to actually match that intensity, to recover, to perform, and to continue growing in the sport of jiu-jitsu, MMA, whatever they choose. So Jacob Harmon, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
We love that you like the product.
Yeah,
and
man,
we
it's
appreciate
great.
it.
It's great. Thank you very
Where can
much.
people find you on social media?
Just my name, JACOBHAR.
Yo, what's up? Joey Bull in the house. Joey the freaking Bull with Bull or No Bull with the one and only Blake Bulletproof Troop. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing good, baby.
I didn't
Got
know-
the bull and the bull lit.
That's what I'm talking about, son. Ah! Wait, hold up. You know, I feel kind of he's wearing a sleeveless shirt. I think I'm gonna take off my shirt. Hold on. No! Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, wait.
Titties.
Yeah, yeah.
Where my dollar bills at? Hey.
Yeah. I got my chain too. Look at that. I don't know where my grenade's like right there. It's this small.
Come on, titties.
Look at that. Been working out, brother. You know what I mean? Bull or No Bull, dude. So this is the way it goes down. People, chime in. Subscribe to Free Admissions, a Facebook, YouTube channel for Bull or No Bull. I mean, for Gym Crashers. And the way it goes down is this. I got 3 stories. One of them's true. All right, so I'm going to tell you a bunch of these stories. You go with it. And then towards the end, I ask you, what story is true? And of course, we give you the winner for. We'll tell you the story that's what is true next week on our next show. Because last week's story was, damn, I forget which. It was Aaron Brink. Aaron Brink's story was true from last week. If you didn't miss
Hear
it,
the Aaron Brink story real quick.
okay.
Give me a preview of what I'm getting myself into.
Okay, preview real quick. A long time ago, back in say 2003, I was a little tougher guy. I was about 205 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever. Razor Rob McCullen hits me up saying, "Hey, I got this guy. He has a fight coming up pretty soon. I need a sparring partner." I'm like, "Great, cool." So I go there, and this is when he was still stud. He was happening. Problem is, they needed somebody with hands. So I was a hand coordinator. I was just always boxing and stuff. So I was hitting him. And of course, different between MMA guys and boxers. MMA are more wide. Boxing, I'm kind of like inside. So I'm hitting the same spot. I made him bleed. He got pissed. Then he came back with a whole big old sucker punch to my face, and I got pissed. I'm like, "Yo, dude, I thought we were fucking sparring, brother. Like, really?" And so after that, I got pissed. And the next you have Razor Rob, Tiki were kind of pulling us apart because I was like, "Dude, you want to do this? We can get down and dirty." I mean, I don't give a shit. I mean, I told people even to this day, I'm not sure what he's doing now, if he's doing porn or if he's smoking something. But give me about 6 months, I guarantee get in that cage and knock his ass out.
I'm calling bull on that last part.
What are you talking about, dude? Shit. Give me about 6 months, brother. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, here goes my stories. Story number one. Back in, I'd say 99, there was a club called Oz up in, I believe, Anaheim, off the 5 freeway. And I was told to go up there, hang out, you have a good time. All right, so I went up there. We go inside, get my ID check going, music's pumping. Next thing I see this is way before I was married, so wife, forgive me. I seen this lady at the bar, looking hotter than shit. I'm like, God dang, who is that? So I'm going a little closer, checking it out. From far away, she's smiling, all this shit. And so I'm like, all right. So as soon as I approach, I stop, and I recognize, yo, what's up, Tommy? It was an old friend from college. He decided to switch the ship around, and he was a lady. But we still dance. I had no hate. I mean, he was still my boy. It just, I felt bad. Like, I'm not going to just turn around and say, boo, 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 boo.
Was he gentle with you?
No.
Was he gentle with you?
No, man. We didn't go that far. He respect that. He respect that. Tommy was real cool, but we had a good time dancing. We shared stories. And then, I mean, what's that?
Did he give you his gun?
No, man. No. I mean, no disrespect. I mean, I respect everybody, believe me, because back in the day, like Troop, I went to school. I went to St. Anna College. Didn't go to a state, but I studied musical theory. I did ballet and dance and sang my ass off. Yeah. I kid you not. One day I'll bring videos. You'll see videos of me one day. I'll bring them in. I'll have our producer Robert play them, and you'll be damn surprised of me and my twinkle toes. Now,
this is back when you used to play baseball. You were a catcher, right?
and you were like a wide receiver, right?
That was clever.
Okay.
You got jokes too. Okay.
Okay, that was story number one. Story number two. This was dating back in '94. I worked for the LA Rams, and the Rams used to play here. I was their team mascot. And of course, here I'm cheering the crowd, going crazy. And they're playing against the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm going nuts. People are telling me, dude, get out of the way. I'm like, what the hell? I'm cheering, get out of the way. I'm not moving until I turn around. This fool decides to full on helmet and shoulder pads, one of them passing me, hitting the wall, and he puts his arms out. I put his arm towards him, and we went face to face. And you know who it was? It was Deion freaking Sanders when he played for the Falcons. And you know what, Deion, dude? You're lucky, brother. You're lucky that your prime time didn't mess with Showtime over here, because I would have knocked your ass out right in that football field. Would have been true. It's just telling the truth. So y'all think I'm bullshitting. I'm just telling the truth. See, a lot of people think because I'm a big pudgy guy now. I mean, back in the day, I was a sexy beast. Like I say it every time. Big sexy beast, big dick, and all that.
You just got to tell them you're built for comfort, not for speed.
And that's what I am. Yeah, built for comfort.
Like a Cadillac, baby.
Like a big Cadillac.
Smooth ride.
Like a semi.
Yeah, like a semi. What are you talking about? Third story. No. Yeah, right. Third story. I used to bodyguard a lot of different celebrities, and one of them was, Dennis Rodman. And one night he told me, hey, take this guy home. He was drunk off his ass. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I looked, and it was freaking Vince Neil from Motley Crue. I'm like, God dang it, because he was already drunk off his ass. He was wasted. So I put him in the car. We take him to the hotel. Of course, I'm putting the radio on, and next thing you know, I hear stories of Tommy Lee on the radio. So he's super pissed. He's hitting the back of the seat. Man, you motherfucker, I hate this guy. Turn off the radio. And I'm, dude, you're hitting my boy's car. My boy had a little over $100,000 Mercedes, flamed up, personal from the Lakers when he played for the Lakers for a brief moment. And so I pulled the car off the PCH. I get out of the car, and I'm like, dude, what the hell's your problem? He's like, dude, you know who I am? I don't give a fuck who you are. So I pulled this little skanky ass out of the car, shook him up and down, threw him top of the hood, about to beat the shit out of him. And he had no bodyguard at the time. It was just him and his chick in the car. And this chick was crying, don't hit him, don't hit him. And I didn't give a shit. You know, I was about to beat the shit out of fucking, what's his name again? Vince Neil. And so I put him back in the car, threw him back in, took him to the hotel, and he calls up Dennis, and of course Dennis gives him a wrath of shit, saying, what the fuck, bro? Blah, 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 blah. He didn't give me shit because he started beating up his car. So pretty much, that's it. I got 3 stories. Which one do you think is true?
I think the first one with you going up to the dude who thought was a chick, I think that one's true. I could totally believe that happened.
Why is that, man? Why?
You look like that kind of guy.
Look like that kind of guy.
But I mean, look at this, man. Look at this all pure 100% beef.
It's to be honest, it's probably the flame tattoos you have on your arm.
I love the flames.
You're fist deep.
My flame. You know the reason why I got these flames on my tattoos?
Because you're a flamer.
Oh. You know what? No, I don't care. Blake Troop, I have respect for you. Hold up, dog. Let me tell you something, dog. I have respect for you. You're a big guy. You're shape.
And I was right. It was just
No. And you're shape. Be talking shit about my flames, bro.
His might be bigger than yours, Joe.
What's that?
His might be bigger than yours.
No, my dick's pretty big. I got a pretty big dick. Anyway, that's.
Set this shit on the table. Heard that, baby.
So anyway, remember, first story, meeting a friend dressed like a girl. Second story, threatening Deion Sanders. And third, almost kicking Vince Neil's ass. Now, please subscribe to our free admissions, Facebook, YouTube. You'll win a free, lovely Gym Crasher t-shirt to give us the right answers. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Our Life CBD. Hold on a second. This is no, Our Life? No, ointment?
Ointment. Ready? Complex.
Oh, damn. Where's the ointment? I got it. Damn. Our Life CBD in the house. Good for all your ailments, for your muscle sores, for anything you pull back from, me, I'm a big love maker, so I put this shit on my back all the time because I'm like that.
Puts it on his herpes sores, too.
That's the face I make, too. Look at that. Yeah. And then, Compex. Oh, I love this thing.
Just don't get it stuck in your
Oh,
belly.
believe me, I got some jokes I'm going to spit out with that one, too.
No, hold on. Look at
You want to see the attachment Joey the
What?
Bulls got for this thing?
Look at that. Look at this shit. Now, once again, it's been working on my double chins. Oh, yeah, look at that.
Look at that shockwave there.
Yeah. Want me to put it on you too? You like it? Are you sure, bro?
I don't know where that thing's been.
Well, come on. Can I put on your grenade? Well, this is Joey the Bull with Bull or no Bull. I'll catch you next week. Oh, it ran out the batteries.
This is BJJ World. I'm Dondo, the Gym Crasher. I got Nick the Tooth with us, checking out the event. What do you think so far?
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's so cool to come and watch like a super fight tournament format with guys who aren't the elite black belts. So they're coming up through the ranks. So I love that.
Yeah, Seth makes everyone look like a superstar. Their performance level here is super entertaining. Always good to see people like you out here checking it out. What's going on with you lately?
I just won Nogi Worlds at black belt division and getting ready for Pans.
Look at that, man. Always busy. Going up for Pan Am's. Coming up in just about a month. We love that. Where can people find you on social media?
Nick the Tooth.
We love Nick the Tooth. Thank you so much, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Enjoy the event, brother. Us. Dude, Nick the Tooth in the house. Fight to win. Unbelievable.
Somebody give me
Right?
some ice.
Jacob Harmon and Joey the Bull off the Richter scale tonight, even with Bulletproof Troop in the house.
Yeah.
Throwing off my muscles.
I thought for sure that was going to be a flopping contest, but Joey did not pull it out.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he got gun shy.
Well, he hasn't
Because
seen it. Like Sean said, he maybe hadn't seen it in a while. I don't know.
There you go. I mean, talking about on the Richter scale, I think they felt this episode of Bull or No Bull in JPL,
That's
right?
right.
Because that's where they measure aftershocks and shit.
I
So,
think the San Andreas fault just split. Adam just
Oh,
lost
God.
it. Right?
Jesus Christ.
You need the Compex
But
for your throat?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Why don't
Thank
you come up and
But-
Compex him?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I think I'm all right now. I think we're all right. But back to our guests, Bulletproof Troop.
An incredible guest, by the way. Bulletproof Troop is in the house. Pre-fight LFA coming up March 13th.
LXF 5. Friday,
LXF
March
lights
13th.
out.
Commerce
The
Casino.
other L lights out.
Yeah.
There are also some other events coming up that I'll be a part of. I will be commentating at Fighters Rep on Friday of next week. What is the date on that? I believe it's the 27th.
28th.
On the 28th, Fighters Rep here in Seal Beach. We got a bunch of guys on that card. Fighters Rep does it's United Rules Kickboxing, and so they put on some of the most exciting amateur fights, and they're just starting to have pro cards. I know Anderson Silva's son is making his
That's right.
kickboxing debut for Fighters Rep. I don't remember who he's fighting, but I believe that he's fighting for a belt. I don't believe it's his debut kickboxing, but it's his
I've
Fighters
seen him
Rep
fight,
debut.
but it's incredible.
Oh, he's a stud. Him-
Right?
He's good.
Just like his old man.
Just like his old man, that's right.
Seal Beach Friday night. Troop will be commentating.
Yeah.
It's the 27th.
It's the 28th. 28th.
It's a Friday. It's whatever
Friday's the
Friday is.
28th. Absolutely the 28th, yes. And it's right next to Affliction, right on 2nd Street, coming up in Seal Beach. So, Seal Beach Boulevard and 2nd Street. It's
like
amazing,
that sounds
amazing.
about right.
Yeah, been over there. Did it. Commentated before, loved it.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yep. Very good stuff. What else? What else you got up and coming?
Because, I mean, we're heading into fight week, so I know availabilities to book Troop are going to be less and less as we get to March 13th. But, I mean, what else are you a part of?
So that's the only other thing that there's some other things that I'm supposed to be in the works with, but nothing that I can really come out and talk about at this point in time. But there are some more commentary things that I may be a part of that I'm excited about, but I can't necessarily go into detail about. But there are things coming up. But like I said, Fighters Rep is the next thing on the books that I can come out and talk about, and I'm really excited about it.
That's excellent. That's excellent. But I actually want to parlay a bit of our conversation before we went to break. One person that I kind of remember, because you mentioned Tito Ortiz, is Quentin Rampage Jackson. The first time I saw him in Pride, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a dude that's fighting that's like the junkyard dog, you know, with the chain and whatever. And it kind of...
Big inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rampage is another guy I grew up watching.
And another guy who, you know, basically spent his childhood watching professional wrestling. And it's funny, where Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, you look at people who have crossed the pop culture lexicon, as I like to call it, in combat sports or any sport, and they've had elements of pro wrestling, whether it be their speak, whether it be their verbiage, the persona. You know, Ali, you know, that nobody remembers Cassius Clay, right? He was a young prospect, but when he, you know, turned his life and became Muhammad
Rumble
Ali,
young man, Rumble
Yeah, absolutely.
champ is like absolutely.
it was a completely
Entertainment.
different thing.
But did
right?
that come from wrestling? Do you know if he,
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
he picked that off from somebody else?
He was a kid in Louisville, Kentucky, and he was watching Classy Freddie Blassie.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the greatest personalities to enter the ring.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you look at Classy Freddie Blassie's promos from the late '60s, early '70s, and whatever.
I'm pretty.
Yeah, you'll see it. I mean, Classy Freddie Blassie. I mean, he was, a head star of the Grand Olympic Auditorium, the LA territory, when, you know, wrestling was still in the territory days. Roddy Piper came out of there. Judo Jean LaBelle's mom actually ran that territory. So there's a very rich pro wrestling history, grappling history here in LA, and it's kind of cool that we've got the next generation of it in Bulletproof Troop.
Unbelievable. Right? Can't wait to
Future, baby.
see that.
Yeah, man.
But first, we have a belt to win. Coming up.
Yeah,
Friday the 13th.
Now, in terms of Mike Quintero, obviously, a battle-tested veteran of the sport.
A lot of miles, dude. Right? He's been there, done that.
Yeah, absolutely. But, your approach to it, obviously there's the respect aspect of it, but, He's got power. He's got power.
Oh, absolutely. He is a legitimate heavyweight. He's a legitimate black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a tough guy. He's a certified strength and conditioning specialist, which means he spends a lot of his time in the gym. He's going to be in shape. He's going to be big and strong, and he's going to be a technical grappler, you know? And we know from his past fights, he's a tough dude that will take punishment to get punishment. He's no joke. He's the champion for a reason. But I'm the better fighter, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to take his belt on Friday, March 13th.
Now, I almost feel like I'm judging a little bit of water, but in terms of should you beat Mike Quintero, right? Do you want to circle back and revisit the Jay Silva kind of ordeal?
Yeah, shoot it. Shoot your questions.
Yeah.
What's the question?
No, would you want to go ahead and do Jay Silva or?
I don't think a win over Jay Silva, if he's not the champion and lights out, I don't think a win over Jay Silva does anything for my career. And I don't feel the need to really beat people up over personal drama. I don't think that I think that there's better places that I could be expending my energy or my next fight. You know, there's some people I want to call out after this fight. I've got at least one specific person in mind that I'd much rather go fight than Jay Silva. I feel like I'd be doing Jay Silva a favor by letting him share my spotlight. I think Jay Silva, I think that there's much bigger things on the horizon for Bulletproof Troop than Jay Silva.
Oof.
Would I want to beat him up? Absolutely. If he was the champion, would I be stoked? Absolutely. But he's not. You know, he's not even on the path of where I'm trying to go. And if you stop and throw rocks at every dog that barks at you, you're never going to get where you're going. So would I want to fight Jay? I mean, if it made sense. I honestly don't feel like it makes sense for my career. I think Jay lost his chance when he lost that belt, in my opinion.
Wow.
Real quick, Daniel Arpajon says, see you tomorrow, brother.
That's
See
right.
you tomorrow, big dog.
You know what? The Raging Bull, we're all fans of his, so we all wish
Raging
him
Bull.
the
If you
best.
guys don't know about Daniel, the Raging Bull Arpajon, you better go check this kid out at the Raging Bull on Instagram.
That's right.
It's one of our young studs out of Black House. He's the Camo State Cruiserweight champion
And
heavyweight
heavyweight
champion.
Double.
He's just been smashing everybody, and this kid is a stud. I've been working with Daniel for years, man, and I couldn't be more proud of all his growth as a person and as a fighter. So check out Daniel Arpajon if you hadn't.
And again, I mean, I wouldn't be able to go down to Black House if it not for the initial invitation after the first MMA Events Inc. show with Daniel Arpajon, and he was like, "Hey, come down and do interviews," and that's how I met Turp. So
Wow.
yeah, so big shout out to Daniel Arpajon.
I've got to say that the Gym Crashers were filming in Black House, and up walks a gentleman with a pit bull and a grenade on his neck. Everybody was training, but this gentleman stood out regardless of training or not, stood amongst the crowd, and there was no one his size or possibly as anybody that could stand up and even train with him, much less fight him. And later became known to me that this is Blake Troop. Robert tells me, hey, go interview the guy with the grenade on his neck. I said, you go interview him. I don't know that
If his
dude.
dog doesn't take a bite out of me, he might.
I don't
yeah,
know
for
that
sure.
dude. And that dog looks like it's trained to bite brown people.
Jeez, why'd you go there? Oh, we were doing so great.
Well, that's my own inhibitions.
There you
know.
go.
I've ran from many pit bulls down the alleyways of L.A.
Yeah, there you go.
What was her name?
That's right.
Now, in your career thus far, obviously in your quest for the Lights Out Heavyweight Championship, what have been the reactions that you've gotten from your fan base? Obviously, you've got a live Instagram story account and what have you. But, I mean, little kids who come to your fight, they are just in awe of you. What has that meant to you? Obviously, you've seen so many people, you know, that you've kind of idolized and them idolizing you.
Absolutely. So, the way that it feels, so I'll talk about how it felt for me as a kid initially when I had some athletes give me like some attention and stuff. I remember when I was a kid, one time we were at a basketball game where we had like won tickets to it or whatever, and then we like won some raffle, and so me and my brother got moved like all the way down, like right by courtside, and we're right by one of the tunnels. And I remember when the guys went by, like we stuck our arms out and got high fives, and I felt so cool. I didn't want to wash my hand. I don't even know who the guy was. Like it was a Clippers game too, so I mean the guy probably wasn't even a big deal. But it made me feel so good that this guy like took a second, like, yeah, and gave us both high fives and stuff. And I realized, and to this, I mean, that was probably 25 years ago. So long ago, but I still remember it. And the feeling that gave me, I like to be able to share that with kids where to make them feel special. And I'll stop and take a second, take a picture, sign us, you know, and do things like that for kids because I really feel like it makes them feel important, you know, and I think it's a big thing about, you know, kids feeling important and taking that 2 seconds to stop and give them that moment of, oh, like, I don't even know who that basketball player was, and whether a kid that I do that to remembers who I am later on in life doesn't matter to me, but giving them that feeling, and it's a really good feeling being able to give back and,
Absolutely. That's
and share
amazing.
that with somebody that excites them, you know, and I'm not necessarily the biggest deal or like haven't made any crazy impacts on the world, and I'm not like a Kobe Bryant yet, but to be able to still try and to have the power to influence people in a way, and then to have a few seconds to tell them something like, man, you could be anything you want in the world. Just believe in yourself and go after it. And you could be a 5-year-old, you could be a 10-year-old, you could be 16 years old. And that, basically, essentially trying to tell them, like I said, the legacy, getting people to believe in themselves, their dreams, their ability to achieve those dreams. And if I have a 10-second interaction with a child, or I mean, it could be a full-grown adult, I don't care who it is, but if I can have an interaction with somebody that afterwards they feel better about themselves and their life and their direction in life, then awesome. It's a very rewarding feeling that I can't really describe. You know, it's a really cool feeling of being able to give back.
It seems like you're going national. I mean, you fought in Minnesota and you sold tickets in Minnesota.
I didn't fight in Minnesota. I just went out there to watch fights, and
you sold tickets
$1,000
anyways?
in tickets to a place I've never been before, just for people to come watch fights.
I can't even believe that. I didn't even know the whole story. I just knew that you were putting butts in seats.
I just went out there on like a week's notice and sold like $1,000 in tickets.
A phenomenal dude going to Minnesota selling tickets.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't believe that.
A lot of that all comes from the entertainment value of the stuff that I do. I'd never met any of the people that bought tickets from me in Minnesota. We talked on the internet. I got a fan club out there. But it all has to do with the entertainment value and the stuff that I do and the promos and so forth.
It's crazy.
That have built this fan base up, you know, and the positivity that I really put out into the world, and the encouraging and the motivation and stuff, you know. And like when people, I get a lot of DMs and stuff, and I'll take the time to go through and talk to each of these people and encourage them and motivate them. Like, hey, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to fight. Like, what are your recommendations to whatever, man? Like, you know, just trying to take a little time to make these people feel good about themselves and give them the advice that I can give them to potentially try and help them, which is why I started like my Make It Happen Monday when I was doing the motivational videos on Monday.
I love that stuff,
Things
dude.
that I did that have helped me be successful in my life. And it's crazy because it's so simple. There's not like some magic recipe. It's figure out what you want, create a plan to achieve it, passionately put your everything into that plan, and then make adjustments along the way as you get better at navigating the waters. Like, it's not even that crazy of a recipe, but when people have it broken down like that, they're like, man, that makes so much sense. And it's a very cool feeling to be able to do that, especially with kids, you know? Because if you can get a kid to believe in himself, themselves, their dreams, and their ability to achieve those dreams, you can change that kid's life.
Yeah.
And on an even bigger scale, like getting into professional wrestling and WWE and stuff, if you can get a generation of kids to believe in themselves, their dreams, their ability to achieve those dreams, you can change the world. And that's what my plan is. That's how I plan
heavy,
on
man.
changing the world, is by getting more people to go after and live the life that they want to live.
Absolutely, man. That's I mean, it's incredible, and I mean, you're literally like learning under the influence of giants, right? And one name that you mentioned was Kobe Bryant, right? In terms of positively, you know, affecting a community, even outside of the sport that he played in. So, as an LA native, like, what was that loss? Like, how would you quantify that loss?
You know, I never met Kobe, and I didn't know him personally. So in terms of being able to, like, oh, he was such a nice person to me personally, I didn't know him like that. But as somebody who grew up in Los Angeles, and have watched somebody who was as big of a star and go to as big of places as he did and was as clutch as he was in these certain times, it absolutely gave me a big inspiration of being able to be great at something. But then the more I would learn about Kobe, the more I would feel like his greatness he was blessed to be talented, and like there's always some blessings that go into things. But the guy was one of the hardest workers. I remember hearing a story where he's at the gym shooting and a guy shows up and like 2 hours before training, and then he does like all that, does training. Kobe's still there after training shooting. Then the guy ends up just leaving. And he talked to like Kobe the next day, and Kobe's like, I wasn't about to leave before you left.
Wow.
I was there before him, there after him. We're putting in. Kobe was Kobe Bryant because of his work ethic and his Mamba mentality. I can't say not because he wasn't blessed, because if he was 5 foot, he might not have been Kobe Bryant.
Right.
But it was hard work that made Kobe who Kobe was, you know? Strategic hard work, you know? He's got the same amount of minutes in the day as the rest of us, but he was able to take what he had and turn and put his work ethic in strategically in a way to become the Kobe Bryant that we all we all watched and missed that pass, you know. But the mentality thing, that's, you know, I haven't read his book yet, but the things that I've heard about his book, it's a very similar mentality you see in a lot of successful people, is doing what it takes and putting in all the hard work to get where it is that you're trying to go. And so losing a person like that who's willing to share their secrets into the world, it's a huge loss. You know, I mean, as a basketball player, yeah, it's a bummer. I watched him a lot. Like, man, I was early 2000s when we were going back and forth with the Celtics. Like, I've been watching Kobe Bryant for a very, very long time. And it's a bummer to lose someone in the community who's like a star. But Kobe Bryant was so much more than just an athletic star. He was a guy who went out there and tried to make the world a better place. Something else a lot of people don't know about Kobe is he would go do the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Dude, he would go see like hundreds of kids. And his one deal was like, one thing that he had on it is you can't tell anybody. He didn't do it to go out and have everybody be like, man, he's such a good guy. He's going and seeing all these terminally ill kids. He didn't do it for that. He did it to make the world a better place. And that's the Kobe Bryant that the world, or that the type of people the world needs. And so when Kobe Bryant's passed, that's the person that I think the world's missing out on. The guy who shared the Mamba mentality, that's who the world's missing out on. The star basketball player, I mean, it's a bummer, but that person's not necessarily the person changing the world. It's who Kobe Bryant was off the court that was changing the world, that was doing so much, you know? So it's a tragedy. I mean, he could have been from anywhere, though, and the stuff that he's doing did to try and make the world a better place, he could have been from anywhere, and I would have felt like it was a huge loss. But him being from Los Angeles and being somebody that I grew up watching, you know, and even like, man, you throw stuff in the trash can, Kobe, you know, like it's, especially being from LA, you know, it's, that part's a bummer. It's almost unreal, you know, him passing and stuff, but the world lost a good person in Kobe Bryant, not just a star athlete like a lot of people, I think, just know him as, you know. And not that there's anything wrong with just being sad that a star athlete's gone, you know. If you're a star athlete and you grew up watching this guy pushing it and being innovative and all that, I could see why that could bother, why that would be harder for certain people, you know. But that's the reason why I feel like Kobe Bryant's passing is such tragedy. Beyond him having a family and all that stuff.
And a whole generation has gone away now. Now there's a whole new Laker team trying to make things happen. So that is kind of the end result of, you know, all those years and all those wins and all those championships, and now it's all changed, you know.
Absolutely. And our sincerest thoughts and condolences are with the Bryant family, the entire Bryant family.
Everybody that was on the helicopter. It's a tragedy for everybody that's involved.
It's a lot of people, dude.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of people from Orange County flying into L.A., right?
The Altobelli family.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's the Mauser family. So our thoughts and condolences to everyone that was lost in that tragic ordeal. Now we're talking about the Mamba mentality. I'd be remiss not to speak about somebody who actually made his UFC debut this past weekend in Rio Rancho, one Daniel Rodriguez. And big shout out to him. Talk about somebody that was pivotal to my career. I started out in this MMA deal shooting promo videos with Bosun Wang, and our first promo was with Daniel Rodriguez, right, when he was at Combate America. So to see him win, and I mean, a guy that I know and love, Tim Means, right? We got kicked out of the Palms Casino for interviewing Tim Means after.
Oh, that's who that was.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Trish and I were there. Yeah. Tim Means, a great guy, a phenomenal athlete, a phenomenal performer and fighter, but it was all Daniel Rodriguez's night, to the extent where he won the performance bonus of the night in his UFC debut.
Amazing.
And in his victory on his mouthpiece, the 8-24, underdog with a Mamba mentality, and he showed it. And again, I don't know if Daniel played basketball, but in terms of the effect that Kobe Bryant had at large, it was wide-ranging, you know, and it carried Daniel Rodriguez to victory. So shout out to D-Rod.
Huge shout out to D-Rod. I was at his last fight at Smash Global where he won the, I don't remember what weight.
Welterweight, I want to say.
Once, I don't know, whatever weight it was. But man, he has been a stud here in the Southern California fight scene for years now. And to see him finally get that contract and then to go up there and just perform, good for you, D-Rod. I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah, man. So it's a cool time because obviously there's so many stars that are coming out of Southern California. You're one of them. how is it like to be in such a pool of talent? I mean, where you literally have to come with your A game every time you show up to a training session. You know, everything that you do, it's that Mamba mentality.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like I do better under pressure. I perform well in high pressure situations, so I enjoy it. You know, I know pressure is not for everybody. Pressure does two things: it cracks pipes and it makes diamonds. Some people are leaking on the floor afterwards, and some people are shining. I tend to be one of the people that shines better under pressure. You know, so it works out well for me. I like to be challenged. I feel like in my more challenging fights, I've had my better performances. You know, being in a training room full of challenges, I feel like I'm going to have more improvements and increase my performance overall. You know, so I enjoy high-pressure situations, me personally. I think that it brings the best out of me because I feel like I get more in the moment instead of sitting there like, oh my God, where I'm just tunnel vision, you know, tunnel vision on what it is that I need to do. And so I like pressure, me personally. I think that I perform better under pressure.
You talked a lot about having a trajectory, having a game plan, not only executing but following and seeing it through. Now, is the end result WWE, UFC, or both, or what do you think? What's in the cooker?
I mean, if I could have in a perfect world and I could have things.
I want to see what's perfect for Blake Troop.
I would want to be able to be fighting the UFC and wrestling the WWE, which I know is not a realistic thing because both of them would want exclusive contracts. But if I had to pick one or the other, it would be the WWE. I would be willing to walk away from fighting to get into a big enough wrestling promotion where I feel like I could get a platform that was big enough that when I spoke into the microphone, I'd be able to influence a lot of people, particularly the youth. Because like I said, you get a kid to believe in themselves and their dreams, change that kid's life. You get a generation of kids to do that, you change the world. And I believe that the best way for me to put myself in a position to have enough ears listening to me to influence the youth would be in professional wrestling, in the WWE. So if I had to pick, it'd be the WWE. If I had to pick one of those two things, like I said, in a perfect world, though, I'd be
doing both.
I'd be fighting a little bit. I'd be wrestling.
Somebody landed on the moon. We want to know what your thoughts are. So you could do both.
That's why.
Right?
That's in a perfect world what it is that I'd be trying to do. But if I had to pick one in a more realistic world, it'd be WWE. And because I feel like I could accomplish help build that legacy in a more, I'd get the microphone more often. The crowd would be more impactful. You know, I think it's hard to get an adult to believe in themselves or whatever. But you can get a 10-year-old kid. Oh yeah, that kid will listen to you a lot more. You know.
Now, Troop, would you be a heel or a baby face? Can you see yourself?
You know, that's a tough one because in my opinion, I come off as a heel better. It's really easy to push people's buttons and not be likable. Yeah. But the thing is, if you know me in like real life, like I talk a lot of smack, especially leading up to fights. But if you know me in real life, I'm a total face. I'm all about encouraging people and trying to build people up and make people better and so forth. So it's really, I think it'd be a tricky line but I mean, I think I'd probably flip back and forth. I think that I'd get so far as a heel being a jerk, and then I'd be like, man, I got this far because I believed in myself, and you guys can do all this too. Is what I think would probably be the best path for me to be a heel that was not likable until I got big enough up, and then I'd be like, man, you know, I might have stepped on some toes, but it's because I was on a mission, and I got to where I was trying to get at, and you could get to where you might want to be at too, you know? So I think it'd probably start as a heel and then eventually turn into a face, but who knows? You know, I would much rather be motivating and encouraging and help build people up than to break people down. I think a heel is more about breaking people down and making people not like you and so forth, which is, if you know how to push buttons and talk smack, and for me, it wouldn't be hard to, I mean, it wouldn't be hard for me to do either, you know, like, because I can be a good guy and a bad guy. Sometimes I joke, am I a villain that has good traits, or am I a superhero that'll kind of do
it's like Randy Orton.
Some questionable stuff.
Randy Orton's very hard to see sometimes. He's a heel or is he a face? You can't tell sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it's crazy because we were talking earlier about the birth of Bulletproof Troop, the persona, right? So the fact that you have the levity at this point of your career that you can you're playing both sides, that you see yourself doing either or. That's a pretty cool deal from the Blake Troop. That
right. Well, now I've even done both at the same time. Where like a lot of the people that know me personally, I'm very face, and a lot of my opponents' fans all think I'm very heel because I'll go and talking smack and like that on Valentine's Day. I cut a promo like it's Valentine's Day, and I'm only thinking about one person, Mike Quintero. I can't wait for these hand grenades to make sweet love to your face.
That was funny.
And like it's funny, like my people kind of laugh about it.
Oh, I love it.
Like, oh, this fool's corny, you better smash him. So my people took it as a kind of a face having fun, and his people take it as like, man, you better smash this dork, you know, like. But either way, now I have his people are more interested in the fight. My people are more interested in the fight. It's exactly what I was trying to do with the promos, to build interest in the fight. You know, and another perfect example is like Greek God Papa Don.
Yeah.
I'm a total heel. He's a heel usually, but he's the face in this situation, and I'm the heel because I'm the prick who's in the wrong. But it's like, well, let's run it, bro. Like, I'll slap you around So I can play both characters at the same time based upon the crowd. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. And the thing is, I'm just me being myself, so it's easy to
Turn on.
Yeah, easy to turn on and be genuine with it. I think you can tell, like, when someone's being genuine or when they're not being genuine, I think it really reduces the ability for people to be receptive to what you're doing. In my opinion, Kobe Covington comes off very ungenuine. And I think that's what makes it so...
Cringy.
Yeah, and like, I mean, there's some act talk he's saying. Sometimes he's got some good stuff to say, but it seems fake. It seems like he's putting on a show. It doesn't seem like that's really who he is.
Even the look it's a little off. You're right. With the hat and everything. It just, why would you go that
$2
direction?
suit, you know,
It comes off ungenuine. And
Yeah, I don't buy it.
You know, but where me just being me, it comes off very genuine. You know, like, made these hand grenades making sweet love to your face. Like, that's me. I put in the fun of funeral and the laughter and manslaughter. And that's exactly what I do. Where I go out and have fun.
Laughter and manslaughter.
You might like it, you might hate it. It doesn't really matter. But as long as you've got an opinion about it and you want to see me fight afterwards, whether you want to see me get my ass kicked or kick his ass, it doesn't really matter to me. As long as you remember and you tune in, that's what's important to me about it. You know, this is show business.
Absolutely. And Jim Ross, you know, legendary, you know, wrestling commentator, he says it's all about putting an ass in every 18 inches, and that's it. Whether that be at a bar watching it,
better than vice versa. You know,
that's Joey Bull's Saturday night.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What are you talking
Jesus, that's a bull or no bull. My goodness. But any type
take
of
that one for the team.
Oh, jeez.
I would.
I was trying to go with the straight and narrow. God.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean,
I just haven't heard those terms.
Yeah, so
They're rough.
So straight and narrow. I mean, an ass in every 18 inches. Whether that be people at the bar watching your fight, people at home buying the pay-per-view, or buying a ticket. Now, where can people find tickets for Lights Out 5?
You can shoot me a direct message at Bulletproof Troop on Instagram. Or you can shoot me a message on Facebook, Blake Troop. I do a free t-shirt with every ticket sale. I got general admission tickets. I got reserve seats, cage side. I got everything you want and need. I got hats coming out soon. You get stickers too with your tickets. So shoot me a message. Like I said, at Bulletproof Troop on Instagram, at Big Troop 22 on Twitter, or Blake Troop on Facebook. Any of those places, shoot me a DM and we'll make some stuff happen.
Absolutely. And I mean, I kind of saw when you walked in here, the Lights Out tickets look pretty damn badass, right? I mean,
they can look a little more badass to have my face on them. I'm just saying.
Whoa. There you go. There you go.
So, boys, so where can we find you on your social medias, Dondo?
What, Dondo the Gym Crasher on Instagram and John Dondo on Facebook.
True. I mean, Adam Woods.
The other black guy. According to Woods on everything. And we've got some cool stuff from not Lights Out, LFA, up now. So check out the Free Admission YouTube channel and Facebook, and you'll find all that stuff, but according to Woods.
And you can catch me, Joey the Bull Santana, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and
Tinder, Tandoor.
whatever's out there.
What is the other one?
Tandoor.
Tandoori.
He likes a little curry in his flavor, right?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
right. And once again, we'd like to give a big thanks, and once again, to Blake Bulletproof Troop in the house. We can't wait till next month. Was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, right?
Friday the 3rd. Friday, March 13th.
March 13th.
Return of the Nightmare, LXF5, Commerce Casino.
That's what I'm talking about.
Fox Sports Network.
Gonna be incredible.
Wow. We'll catch you next week, folks. This is Jim Crasser signing out.
Bam.